Hello, my name is Jeff Leonard, and this is my business model canvas project for ENT 201 with Dr. Perry for fall 2022. I'm a photographer, and my business model is in regards to my studio, Marshfield Studios. Before I begin there, I would like to tell you a little bit about myself so you have an idea who I am and what I'm passionate about. I've always been that kid who had a camera. Even I would date back to the possibly the fourth and fifth grade, where I was always on the field trips with a camera, doing all I could to take pictures of something. Um, Now at this point in my professional career, I create images. I know it's a play on words, but it definitely helps with the presentation and the direction that I'm trying to go with my life and my business. As a as an adult, I consider myself a photopreneur. I even have T-shirts that say so. It creates a lot of conversation when people see them, and even when photographers see them. But not only photographers, but uh, someone in the mall. And next thing you know, that's a question, and the shirt does its job because they asked me for a business card. I enjoy helping and talking with fellowpreneurs about their successes and uh, how they overcame obstacles. So the interview that we had some time ago was really right up my alley. It was like it wasn't even work for me. I also enjoy mentoring to peer photographers and helping them move forward with their goals and their business. I will forewarn you, I'm extremely optimistic and honest. Uh, I will definitely help you work through whatever scenarios I can, but at the same time, once we talk about it again, it's your job to figure out what the solutions are and then present those to me because we can only spin the record so many times. I hope this presentation can provide some insight into my business as well as my the business plan going forward. So about the studio, or as we call it, studio life. I opened my studio in a warehouse that was partially climate controlled. The front end where the offices were climate controlled, and then the space where we actually did the photography and the shooting was a mass space, but we didn't have any climate control. In the wintertime, we had these kerosene. We had a kerosene heater we called the Dragon, and then in the summertime, we had these large industrial fans that we ran 24/7, and they surprisingly kept the area and the space cool enough where you could go in there and do work. You would have to step back into the AC, uh, get a bottled water, snack on something, and then step back into the warehouse area. But we made it work. I ran that studio for about 6 years and then came to a close as I downgraded and became a member of another studio. So a lot of what I am presenting are some things that have worked, some things I'm doing now, and some things that I would definitely do going into a new location when I get into a building and go that route on my own. With that said, my mission statement has always been your place to be creative. I want everyone to feel like it's a place where they can be creative, not have any restrictions, and ultimately take care of their client in such a way that their client will want to work with them again, their client will refer them, and they in turn, the photographer, will want to come back to that place where they have a good foundation and a good relationship. Marshfield Studios, who is a locally owned and operated studio by Charlotte photographers. Uh, it's a creative place that is for you and your client. It's available for you when it's needed or by membership. We're located close to highway access and easy to find. And the reason why I would say is because your client deserves it. And I say that because once someone determines that they want to pay you and invest their hard-earned money, then they deserve to get what the best that they can. And I do consider the service I provide the best. The business structure is an LLC. We are more of a service provider, and I would say that we are in the media and entertainment industry. Oh wow, the management and the way that breaks down, and the way it's broken down in the past is I pretty much took care of everything: billing, accounting, marketing, management, uh, everything. So with the marketing and the advertising and even the community awareness, I would definitely go out. I'm the person that keeps flyers in my car. If I'm out shooting somewhere and I finish up and then I see another photographer shooting somewhere, I will walk over to them, introduce myself, give them a flyer, and just say something to the effect of, hey, you know what? This is my flyer. When you need us, just give us a call. And surprisingly, I've gotten calls a month or sometimes even a couple of days after I met that person just in the park for those 2 seconds or 10 seconds. And they inquire about the studio. They want to come by, see it, so they'll know going forward what's available. Uh, I cover everything from A to Z. Like I said, the accounting, studio tours, the operations, studio maintenance, light bulbs, Windex, uh, everything. Leaks, front door, storm doors. I can watering the plants. I can pretty much think of everything that I cover. And the plan would be going forward to in a new location to have two members that would work on trade. Pretty much, they would get some type of membership option, and they would in turn help out. So let's say, for example, they would get possibly some type of reduced rate on a membership, and then they in turn work a certain number of hours uh, at the studio. I prefer that they be financially invested as opposed to just giving something on a complete barter or trade. I just feel like they have more invested in it. For my customer segments, I typically would have two audiences that I would be marketing to. One of those markets is, let's say, your renter or your client that is booking the space as a company. Different companies, different firms need things done. Let's say a company may need some product shot for advertising or for their website, and the photographer that they're hiring needs studio space. The photographer that they're flying into Charlotte needs a space, so therefore they find us and then they want to rent through us. Those are the really those are the clients that you tend to prefer to have, because they will pretty much cut a check, send a check, and or pay pay the amount up front, and it's just a great situation. And then over time, when they need things again, they come to you. The other client, the other customer segment that I have would be my members. These are the everyday photographer that just need a space to shoot, bring clients for consultations. They need a space to come in and test new camera gear. These are the people that are my backbone, and they are the ones that market and talk, and these are the ones that will post their pictures on social media, their BTS, and then someone will ask them, where's this studio at? And then that's when they say, hey, let me introduce you to Jeff. So this is also these are also the people I consider my network. Okay, so my promise is that regardless of the usage if the usage is by a member or corporate client, the mindset for me has to be to provide an experience. The goal is always to treat a guest as well as my members with some type of concierge approach to taking care of them. If anyone has been to a high-end resort or just a really nice hotel, everything is pretty much covered. Even when you go into the rooms and you forgot your toothbrush or you forgot something, they have those things that make your trip more pleasant, because the only inconvenience is possibly having to go to the front desk if they don't bring that toothbrush or those items to you that you may have forgotten. So that's what I like to pattern myself as after. Let me give you a quick studio tour of what we work with now. So this is our entry area. This is our studio from one angle. This is from another angle with more an additional angle. And then this is an angle that you see when I'm in there using it. A lot of things moved around, cords on the floor, things on the table, and things like that. The great thing about having a space this size is that we can do branding shoots, which is really popular right now because everybody and their mama, I would say, has a podcast. They're on YouTube, they're on social media, and things like this allow for verbiage off to the right hand side and what we call that negative space on the right hand side there. This is actually my pastor of my church. She was married to the bishop at the church. So she can put scriptures and positive things over there to the right. This young lady here was booked with me, and this was a big confidence booster. She played sports, but she needed a little bit of confidence to see herself on camera. I'm sorry, in pictures before she started doing some modeling and fashion shows. This is another example of seasonal opportunities that we can have here that can generate revenue for the studio. Everyone now wants to create their own Christmas cards. Everyone can have Christmas cards created within 48 hours, and they can be shipped to you overnight in some cases, or within a couple of days, and then people can go from there, if they're old school, quote unquote, ship their Christmas cards out or just put them on social media. The characteristics of my customer segments are typically people 27 up to 65, typically male and married with adult age children. They are typically part-time photographers with various genres of interest. They typically have their own income from another means. Here in Charlotte, the banking industry is very strong. So a lot of the photographers that I work with are typically in the banking industry or in some form of IT. I have a retired policeman, a retired Navy veteran in the past, but typically they work at the bank and they have some form of or correlation to IT. Photographers typically will attend a workshop that I host, and then by the third workshop, sometimes the second, they will become either a member or start renting. One of the appeals to the customers that I service is they have a chance to become familiar with the space along with the equipment, and I get a chance to show them what they can create in the space. And then also along with that, the renters or the customers get to know me and how I operate. Now I want to dive into the business model canvas. My customer relationship and sales plan, I just wanted to put those two together to try to reduce some of the slides. But my approach, as I mentioned, is a concierge type approach. We can serve the renters and customers like we do our members by them having keyless entry to the door, so to gain access to the building. In my last location, once someone becomes a member or rents with me, they can pretty much get a code that I can email to them. I can send them via text, and they are pretty much able to use that to get into the building. I don't have to be there. We try to keep the building in tip-top shape so that at any point anybody can come in and I can give a tour. But that is pretty much like what people do with Airbnb. So you don't have to punch any buttons. The code is in your phone. It works via Wi-Fi, and I can see you once you get to the door and inside the building. With my members, I employ servant leadership style. by making sure whatever questions that they have, I write them down, address them. I bring them up in the email, let them know what I was presented with and how we chose to find a solution or make an improvement on what we have. And that's something that a lot of the members have appreciated over the years. Again, I want the customer service level to be like a 5-star resort. I try to appeal to all 5 senses, and that has been my staple, regardless of where I have been as a business owner or having a studio. Is what appeals to the 5 senses? What is visible? How does it look? Um, when they walk in, I want beautiful pictures on the wall. I want them to see a nice, comfortable environment. Typically, when you come into an industrial park, you don't think of seeing too much inside the building or when you think about a studio, but it makes a difference in everything from the color palette to the flooring to uh, the light switch plates, baseboards, all of those things are cords visible in the hallways and things like that. I'm a very big proponent of Glade plugins for the smell, taste. I provide light snacks, bottled water. Uh, I always ask clients if they want if the temperature is good. So I want to take care of how they feel. Um, what do they hear? I want to make sure that they hear some type of light jazz or some type of music, even a radio station. So therefore, there's no numbing silence when they walk into the room, and they can go from room to room because we use Google speakers. A small investment, but we use Google speakers to keep the music consistent throughout the studio. I'll often provide a tour to anyone coming in, so therefore they can know what's behind all these doors, what's over here, what's over there, so that they feel more comfortable. I want that apprehension to subside and put them at ease and make sure that they feel comfortable. And of course, with 90% of the clients being women, we have to make sure our restroom is spotless. Some people will laugh at me. I understand. I really do. My sales plan pretty much consists of inviting each lead to the studio for a 10 to 15-minute tour. I find out details about that particular need. I qualify them and I close that lead if I can. If not, I don't close 100%. I'm not going to say that I'm always closing, but if not, I add the lead to my CRM or customer relationship manager. I strongly support those systems and encourage everybody to invest in one. And then I follow up with that lead. When need be, I never adjust the price, but I will extend incentives to close the lead if I can extend some type of extra piece of equipment based on what I gathered in our conversation. I will do that, but I do what I can to close those leads, because those leads and that experience that's just more marketing that you can have, that I can have under my belt. Talk about marketing. There's a lot of door knocking. So you will knock on, as I do, knock on a lot of doors. I visit an outlet each week, and those outlets are typically one of the 3 major camera stores that we have here in Charlotte. We added another one in October, and I'm happy to say that I know all of those people at the stores. And I have their phone numbers in my phone. I can text them and ask them questions, and they can text me and let me know that someone is inquiring about a studio. They're going to refer me. With that, I mention here that I also visit Best Buy stores. I go in there because they do sell cameras there, and it's right up my alley. And it gives me a chance to go to different places as well as find out the new tech and so forth. But some of the questions I tend to ask them, because they are indeed my network. I had not really looked at that in that way until we really were diving into some of the subject matter in the class. But I asked them things like how often people ask about studio rentals, who do they refer them to. I even make it a point to deliver donuts to the staff probably quarterly. Right now, I'm due for donuts at one location, as I'm sure they're going to be very busy come the holiday weekend. So, with everybody all hands on deck on the Saturdays, I will more than likely drop off some donuts, and they always tell me, "Hey, thank you so much." Inside the lid of the Dunkin' Donuts or the Krispy Kreme donuts, I will always say, "Hey, thanks for your hard work supporting our community." Put my name and the name of the studio and ask someone to refer, uh, to send someone to us. I extend concessions and discounted rates to the staff, and they again are using the building, the space, the equipment, and that's just free marketing because they will give me a testimonial at the end of their visit that I can post on social media. I send Christmas cards to them. I treat them just as if they are a client, or a renter or a member. This is some of the current marketing that I'm using. It's something small, but that's something that I can stick in someone's hand. As I mentioned earlier, if I see a photographer in the park, out somewhere, I can stick it in there. I say, "Hey, I'm gonna put this in your camera bag. It's about the studio," and they always say, "Hey, thank you." And like I said before, they'll follow up with a call. This is my pricing, so people can see I'm always upfront, and I always preach to my peers and anyone in a workshop. People always need to know in advance what they're going to be getting and what they're paying for. Part of the concierge service and experience that I'm always looking to provide is asking questions and making sure that the person I'm asking of the question of, they feel like and they know that they've been heard. So I ask questions because I want you to return. I need to ask, how was your session today? Or I can even ask them, can you tell me one area I can improve on so we can earn more of your business? I ask them, how did you hear about us? I typically know that before they even get there because I try to qualify everybody. And then I even ask them, hey, can I get your bottled water? And one of the things that people bring to my attention is when I ask them if they want it room temper chilled. They'll tell me if they want it room temper chilled. I serve it with a napkin. But before I even do all of that, they'll see me wash my hands and they'll say, thank you so much. Now, I was doing this before COVID, but when you're serving food, it's just what you want. So I, in turn, try to give people what I expect. And sometimes that's a great thing where I can raise the bar and exceed what they were even expecting. Even so, I even thank them via email and just thank them for the opportunity to provide them a service and a space where they can bring their customers, because again, their customer is investing in them, and that's major. Let's talk about revenue streams, or show me the money. Some of the different ways that I'm able to generate revenue it's a myriad of ways from my point of view, but some of them include workshops where I can charge $55 to $95 a person, and I can typically accommodate, depending on the subject matter, about 20 people. I wouldn't exceed 30. 20 to 30 people, varying on the price range. So I'm putting the numbers here so you can do the math. If they just want the space, it typically runs about $100 an hour, and that's with a 2-hour minimum. Some events I have hosted in the past, I'm interested in hosting: business baby showers, business mixers, tween birthday sessions where they'll have some music, they do the cake and ice cream, but they can have a photo session with their birthday. And they love that. They see their pictures on a 50-inch television. We print some of the pictures out, we frame them, and it's something different, and the tween girls really like it. Holiday mini sessions, as I showed earlier, where the family was on the Christmas theme picture. You can charge as little as 150, and some people charge more, and you can get maybe 10 families in one day. Again, you can do the math. Professional headshot marathons, you can charge maybe on average about $225 for a 45-minute session, and possibly do, I would say, up to 10 headshots in a day as well, even with a break in there. I'll tell you, we as photographers, we are typically built for longer days because we understand that we're working around the client's availability, and sometimes that may just be on the weekend. So we have our days in the week while everybody else is at work, but when it comes time to work, we got to get in there sometimes 2-3 hours early, work, take a break, and then continue to work, and then we have to clean up and break down. And that just makes for a long day, but you've had a chance to impact a lot of people. Meeting space options with tables and chairs, beverages, snacks. We have a TV, the presenter, some people call it a clicker. All those things can serve as add-on items that can increase that ticket or that invoice. The big thing is subscription for members to get studio to get access to the studio. We have or the plan will be going forward will be premium membership at $450 with a goal of at least 6 members at that tier, and then have a standard membership at $350 a month with a goal of at least 4 members at that tier. Then everyone else is pretty much renting on demand or renting as they need it. The other things that I can generate money on would be storage options for members, and even having workshops for models because I do have my foot in the door with a lot of fashion minded operations and people here in the city. Key activities. As I was saying, it's a lot of marketing, the customer relationship manager, lots of door knocking and networking, and then more door knocking. As a business owner, you will manage everything from the toilets to Windex, literally everything. So that is pretty much just a recap of what I mentioned earlier. The key resources, I'm happy to say I own the majority of them. I would say I own 97%, or maybe even 98, 99% of the key resources. And there are tools like what you see here, stands and lights and boom arms and hold the lights out there, sandbags and modifiers for the light that will shape the light. So those things are really good to have already. I've been doing this for some time, so I have a storage unit, I admit, full of them. Some of the key resources that I have were mentioned, but some of the things I do not have, and right now that's a building. But as a member, I have access to that, but I don't have to pay for it to that degree. So the goal would be for me to have a 2,000 square foot facility warehouse that handles light industrial spacing that runs about $100 to $140 per square foot right now. I'm hoping to get mine at $100 a square foot for about 2,000 square feet. And my office. I miss not having an office where people can come in, I can rent, and I can go sit in my office and be there all day and just work. But the bonus is that I don't have to pay a lease for the mortgage. I'm sorry, a lease that's the size of a mortgage. My partnerships, I would say, are the camera stores, as I mentioned. They're definitely my network. The photography workshop that I have that has about 1,500 members, it helps tremendously because I can market promotions to the group and have a few inquiries by the next day. One of my best friends is a contractor and a photographer, so he can answer my questions and help me build out the projects that I have. As we get closer to the end, my cost structure right now is about $600 a month versus more than $2,000 if I and having my own studio. When I do establish a location again, I'm expecting a lease of about $3,000 a month, and that may or may not include about another $500 that I've allowed it for utilities, Wi-Fi, security, insurance, etc. Some of the journals that I refer to monthly is, as I'm a member of Professional Photographers of America, they have a magazine or publication that comes out, and they cover different topics. They even have a website that just has a myriad of different topics. It's just an endless website with links that go here and there and different topics that you can definitely learn about, so you're not in this all by yourself. My final summary. Based on an overwhelming growth of YouTube and vlogging, I would be crazy not to include a station or an area in the studio for podcasts. I may even have two. I've watched a lot of things on YouTube and talked to other photographers and some of the other spaces here in the city, and that would be something I would have to, I think, have to remain competitive, and possibly even have a membership option for that as well. Some years ago, there were about maybe 5 studios in the city. Now there are about possibly 15 that can come to mind, all with pros and cons, with the main concern being the cost to the user or the renter. Everybody's trying to keep their packages low so that their clients don't have to walk and they can earn that revenue. I do have a strong background in sales, so I don't see the comparison as apples to apples, so I market myself on the experience factor. I will close by saying that while reading the assignments we had for class, I truly wish I had this course beforehand. Just before I stumbled out there and slowly built my studio. The details and even the case studies were very, very helpful. So if you are looking at starting out and doing something, this course was just A to Z on. It covered so much. It should be like a Bible. Using an outline versus trying to figure it out, and or having a blueprint would certainly move your business smoother and faster than planning any other way. In closing, I'll be using this presentation as my own blueprint, and I'm happy to say, and I continue to use as I continue to visit industrial parks, large and small, while I'm driving around. I would encourage you, if you do have a vision, to take a notebook, write it down, and just keep that notebook as your own. You jot your ideas down, from the name of your company to who you would employ, color schemes, logos, all of those things. I would encourage you, as I do entrepreneurs, to have that book so that it's yours and you can refer back to that and grow with that. And then when you get ready, you can have those things and it can support your blueprint and move you forward in your business. I have hope you enjoyed this presentation, and I appreciate your time. But again, I'm very passionate about this, and I truly do hope that you enjoyed it. Thank you so much.